creating an authentic relationship for yourself if you've been an adult film actor or actress in the adult film industry and you've left that world. It's hard. It's real hard. And I started my series on this on Friday by posting 3 key steps that a person needs to take if they decide that they want to speak out in regards to abusive elements in that industry. So take a look at that video. You can find it over on the Porn News Today YouTube channel and also on pornnewstoday.com. But creating an authentic relationship, it's difficult, but it's doable. The most important thing is honesty, at least from my perspective, okay? And that means full disclosure about your past with whoever it is that you're intending on dating. That can be very scary. You may say to yourself, oh, well, that means that I'm hardly going to have anyone to date. Not necessarily true. Not necessarily true. Okay. Having a past in the adult film industry, whether you be a performer or even somebody who's worked behind the scenes in some cases, there are certain people in this world who carry a certain kind of internal stigma about it. There's some people who will automatically write you off. And you know what? That's not somebody who's for you if that's how they think. Sorry, but that's just how it is. Okay, now you have to watch out for another kind of person, someone who views themselves as your savior. You don't want to date somebody who's going to be like, oh, you should thank God I even gave you a chance. Or who's going to be like, oh, I want to save you from your past. No. You need to find somebody who just views you as their equivalent, as just a human being who's taken a walk on the wild side, as someone who is just probably a bit different than the majority of society, but especially if you've walked away from that world, that shows a lot of character, okay? So your best bet really is to find someone who's familiar with the world of the arts when it comes to dating. As someone who has a past in that world myself, I don't know if I want to define myself as a retired adult performer or an ex-adult performer or an escapee adult performer. I don't know, but it's in my past, okay? I have found that since leaving that world, I haven't found a long-term relationship, obviously, because I'm still single, but the relationships I found that were decent, it was with men who were familiar with that world, either people who had a history in that world themselves or people who have been linked to the music industry or mainstream Hollywood entertainment. Those relationships didn't last for reasons that were removed from my past, having been an adult film performer. I've had some nightmare situations with guys who threw my past in my face, unjustifiably so, who tried to act like they were doing me a favor by seeing me. Those people weren't right for me from the start when I think about it in hindsight, okay? Unfortunately, when people do learn of your past, there is a certain type of male and female who will look at you as a novelty, who will just want to be with you because it gives them bragging rights of some sort. They think it's cool to tell their friends that they dated whatever your stage name or your alias was. And that can be very hurtful. And to the individuals who have done that to me or to others, honestly, I hope you fall off a cliff or get struck by lightning. So it does make dating and finding a relationship more difficult for you, but I have seen that people who have walked away from the adult film industry and who have found a solid long-term relationship, their relationships tend to be more authentic than many other people's, especially if they've met their true match, their true love. So I just wanted to talk about that tonight. Another important thing you need to do when you decide to date outside of the adult entertainment industry, once you have left that world, is you need to utilize your legal name, your birth name. Don't identify with your alias anymore, because that's not who you are. Don't be ashamed of your past. Don't be ashamed of that alias. But when people talk to you, they need to address you by your birth name, and you need to respond only to your birth name. Anyone who still calls me my alias from when I worked in the adult entertainment industry, an alias that I came up with, I named myself, okay? The adult industry did not name me, and I was a cam model for many years before entering the adult film industry. But my stage name was Monica Foster. Anyone who refers to me today as Monica Foster, I don't respond to them. They are not in my life. I don't talk to them, because that's not me. I have been known as my legal name far longer than I ever was known as my stage name. And I consider it disrespectful, because I've noted on several occasions publicly in both verbal and written form that I answer to Alex or Alexandra. So anyone who still addresses me as my alias, Monica Foster, I already know out the gate where their mindset is coming from. I know for the most part what their agenda is. And I know also that they're very immature or mean-spirited or just straight out evil person. Likely linked to organized crime too, because something that sex traffickers tend to do is they never refer to their target as their birth name. There's a thing in their head about that. It humanizes their target too much. So that's another thing. Anyone who refers to me as my stage name, by default, I have to say that they're attached to organized crime and involved in sex trafficking. For example, a woman named Dawn Dangard Williams, aka Alana Evans, has an issue with using my legal name, and I believe that's because she's attached to sex trafficking.